Yeah, it was and never market products you don't believe in.
Mm,
And the the meaning behind that is a lot of people can do a lot of different things just purely for the money, but it only gets you so far. Like you can get paid $1 million to do one thing, but if you aren't happy with it, you aren't happy with it.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that's changed how they see the world, reminding us that wisdom lives in the most unexpected places and moments of our daily lives. Today's guest is Michael Dimaria, a marketing strategist and father who's built his business around one simple truth, that clarity and systems matter more than complexity. He's someone who's learned to balance the demands of entrepreneurship with the reality of family life, always searching for what actually works. Let's settle in with Mike here and discover the words that have guided his journey. Tell us your name and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Michael Dimaria. I do all things digital marketing, specifically involving SEO, and then also in the realm of AI and automation.
Okay. What's your favorite quote?
There's a few, but there's one that stands out, and it was actually by an old professor of mine back in college, and they said, "Build boldly, speak clearly, and never market what you don't believe in." And that quote has stuck with me for my entire working career, because that's one of the things that, when after hearing it, it one, made a lot of sense, and two, just in my everyday life, like there's a lot of jobs that I have done that when I stopped believing in the product, or it was a lot harder to do the job. And so that part of the quote always made sense. And then, in regard to build boldly and speak clearly, I mean, you can't get anywhere in life if you don't speak clearly and build boldly. Some of the greatest minds of our time wouldn't be where they are if they didn't take big risks and weren't bold in the steps that they took.
Yeah, yeah. When you say I like for well, I know the quote is in simple English. I like for you to explain each of the I feel like it's in three parts. I would like for you to explain each
Mhm.
of the three parts and then explain with a context, like example or personal story that really drives home the point. When you say build boldly, what does that mean?
Build boldly, take risks, don't settle for the status quo. When AI is a great example right now. When
Yeah,
people are building AI, everybody's freaking out about AI and what it's going to do and how it's going to affect our lives. And Elon Musk is a perfect example. He's trying to automate everything. He's trying to make the robo taxis. He's trying to do a lot of different things, and is very bold in how he's built his business. He's bold, and a great example is he launched a rocket that he was able to catch on the way back down. So you don't waste materials. Like, that's a
yeah,
bold thing. Um, and decisions like that, building boldly, are people have to do that, because that's the only way that life as we know it is going to change. That's the only way that life gets better for people, life gets more comfortable for people, is by making bold decisions.
yeah.
um
I like the fact that the word used is bold because oftentimes when we're building something we're setting, we don't even know if it's going to work or if it's going to stand the test of time.
right, and I think that's anybody who would claim to build boldly, they failed a million times. But the bold part of that quote is why they succeeded, is because they failed a million times, but they kept going. And so that success and those failures and learning from those failures ultimately contributed to their success.
Yeah. When we even look at it in the first place, to build in the first place, right? To just build, right? It requires courage to actually say, I want to build something. I want to, create something. I want to start a business. I want to, invent an app or any of these things. It requires courage. And now it's the quote is not just saying don't just build, right? Because a lot of persons they build stuff, right? They do stuff, but they're just doing it like they're scared. Most persons are scared, but they're doing it like, you know how you like, oh, let it not look like I'm not doing it. Let it not look like I'm not building
Mhm.
something. Right? They're not building
Mhm.
it with that audacious boldness. You're like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
this is it and this is it. And you know how you build stuff as if you cannot fail, right? and and then when you win, people are like, yeah, he always had this there was this aura he had with him that he was going to make it. Yeah. There's nothing like that.
Yeah. But it's funny because 99% of people could go through that same exact path, but just wouldn't take that extra step further to get them to success because they'll give up too quickly.
Yeah.
And I think just to almost retract a little bit of what I said about the failures, I think I forget who said it, but it's like you only fail when you give up. But if you keep
Yeah.
going, it's not a failure yet.
Yeah, yeah. But when you look at it from a top level perspective, failure is other than dying, other than death. Failure is psychological, right? You write an exam,
Right.
you fail the exam, and you're like, my life is terrible. And I've heard of instances of students committing suicide because they failed an exam, they failed, and I'm like, you failed an exam. It's an exam you failed. It's not like you lost a brother or your dad or your mom was killed. It's an exam. Right? It's I know
Perspective. Yeah.
if you say it that way, sometimes you're like, oh, it doesn't get better. It's psychological. It's the mind. It's like it's not like anything happened to you physically. It's just that in your mind, you're like, how a whole me of this timber. Why would I feel? What would people say? And so many shame and guilt and all this stuff is happening in the head. Nothing. Like
Yeah.
if there is no way you can visibly tell that if someone failed an exam or not by looking at their face. It's not
Right.
written there. It's not written there. And so when we realize that most of the troubles and the struggles we have in life is because of the way we see things, then we're more careful to actually ask ourselves, how am I seeing things? Is this the way I should be looking at this thing that is happening, or should I look at it from this other perspective? And
Mhm.
it's a better way to approach things.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, I don't know how into like philosophy you are, or anybody in the audience how into philosophy they are, but one of our great philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, he would always talk. One of the big things that he talked about was being in control, not in control of a certain situation, but being in control of how you react to it. And
Yeah,
so that is, yeah, you can tell failure by looking at someone's face, but there's a lot of people walking around that are failing constantly, and you'll never know,
yeah,
because they haven't given up. And I think once you've given up, whether on whatever you're trying to build, if you once you've given up, you can see that immediately. You can see that sign of defeat.
yeah. Build boldly, right? It takes courage in the first place to even
Mhm.
start building. To start a podcast, it takes courage. There are a lot of persons who
Right.
2 years, 3 years, they want to start a podcast, like, oh, I'm going to sound terrible. So many mind stuff. So it's all, yeah. And the thing that we were fond of doing is that once we in our head psychologically told ourselves that we're not going to do this thing, we're afraid of doing it. Guess what we do? We try to look at the physical and the tangible reasons why we cannot do that thing. You're like, oh well, I could have started a podcast, but I don't have the short end mic, the one that costs $800 or stuff like that. And so that's why I have not started the podcast. And I'm like, really, right? And the strange thing is that you always see some inadequacies and things that would back up your reason for not doing that thing. But in actual sense, it's just because you're scared, you're afraid. That's why, not these other things to your naming.
I think the speaking specifically on podcasts, I think the idea that like, oh, I need this expensive equipment to do it is like an excuse to not do it. It's like, no, if you were relying on the nice camera and the nice mic and all that stuff to have a good podcast, I mean, people like looking and listening to something that sounds good,
Yeah,
but people will listen to anything if the content's good. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if you follow Gary Vee at all. It annoys me sometimes, I will admit, but the majority of his podcast, when you're on his podcast, is him just talking into his AirPods or talking into his phone. The thing is that a lot of times what he's saying is like really good information, and so you listen to it anyway, even though it doesn't
yeah,
sound that good. And so I
yeah,
think I think having the nice equipment is I mean, it will get you further than not. Ultimately, it's the content.
Yeah, 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 that's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, most persons don't have the content, right? They don't have
Right.
the goodness of the content. But they don't have the experience or the credibility or any of those things in the content. And guess what they do? They try to compensate for that by buying expensive mic. Now, of course, getting if you have a good mic, that's nice, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if I could afford to buy a better mic, I would buy one. Or they try to get a good studio with really good lights and background setting and all that. And it's not like there's anything wrong with that, but was actually what they're trying to do, because I've been there before where I'm like, I'll create content, I'll make videos if I get a laptop. And then I get a laptop and 6 months pass and I'm like, wait, what happened? Why did I even get this laptop in the first place? Oh, well, the intention was to create content. And then I realized that it's not, you've always been the new thing that you need to do, because now instead of you to work on actually becoming the content, what you're trying to do is like, oh, if I get a good laptop, if I get a studio, this ergonomic chair and the deck setup, 5 screen and monitor screen, then it will make my productivity higher. But in actual sense, what's happening is that your content is not good, and probably the reason could be that you've not even done stuff. You're just talking.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know like one project that we're working on right now, my brother-in-law is actually over right now working with me. We're developing a podcasting studio for cheap. Basically something that's mobile, something that's cheap. So
yeah,
instead of, you
yeah.
don't have to buy the $3,000 camera, like we have these $100 cameras that we're setting up that shoot in 1080. We have, $100 mics.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
Not the $500 mics or whatever, and then basically just like a laptop to go with it to help run the whole thing. And it's like, and we've shot a few, and it looks good. You don't need the super expensive equipment to make it look good. I think, yeah, I think you can do it in any way, and especially, yeah, like we already said, if the content's good, then people will listen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It it's yeah, yeah. Especially when you have something that people cannot get anywhere else, right? Probably
Right.
I like there are people that I watch. There's a guy who on YouTube. Of course, I'm not saying anybody should go and start dealing with lions, but he he trained lions. He has lions, and he wrestles with lions and all that. Now that's privilege. That's an unfair advantage, right? And a lot of us, we have unfair advantage, but we choose not to see it, right? For us, we have an opportunity to test stuff, to try things, because it's easier, it's cheaper for us. We are, and when we try those things, let's say instead of just coming out and say, "Oh, I tried 10 this," you're like, "Oh, I analyzed that and I took data from 1,000 podcasts and I broke down this stuff and done this stuff." And guess what? Even if it's just a webcam and you recording, people would want to listen, because now you have something special that I can't just get anywhere. So if I was to get it, I would
Right.
have to work a lot. But nobody wants to do that. You're like, you just go to ChatGPT, write a script for me on this video, and then ChatGPT writes it, and then we start reading it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you bring up a really good point. These days, there is absolutely zero excuse not to create something
yeah,
because it's so easy now. Like
yeah,
you you can create a video, you can create a podcast, you can create captions, you can create social media without actually using any brain power because AI can do it. And now
yeah,
I'm not advocating for only using AI for every single little thing of your process, but to say I don't know what to do or it's too much work or I don't have enough time, like that's not even an excuse anymore because
yeah.
it's so easy now.
Yeah, yeah. It's so easy. Like you could literally have a storytelling coach who's like, yeah, I want to make a video about my experiences. Right? I don't want to talk about stuff that people should do. I want to talk about stuff tried. And I'll give you a rundown of my day and give ideas. And you just talk about, oh, I did this stuff, I tried this stuff, and I was frustrated about this. And AI gives you really good titles that when you talk about it and you share your story, it's yours. Because at the end of the day, with AI tools, that they'll get views, right? But at the end of the day, ultimately, we want to build our brand and want people to connect with us because our story. And the only way we can do that is when we live life, when we build something and we build it boldly, and we're not just, oh, I'm into this industry, and you're just like trying to like put hands and like so that they won't say I'm not doing it. No, no, that's not good. Want to
Right.
build boldly,
Exactly.
courage. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, I'd love for us to talk about the speak clearly. What is that? What does
Sure.
that mean?
Yeah. So speaking clearly, if you don't speak clearly, doesn't matter how brilliant you are, or how good your ideas are, they'll never come across. I think a lot of people can relate to being, not necessarily a higher up, but more like low level employee at a company and having an idea and not being able to communicate it clearly enough. Um, and unfortunately, it's all about how you say something. It's not about what you're saying. The content is only one aspect of it, but being able to frame that content to your audience is almost more important than the content itself. If I'm speaking to you right now and I can see that you just within your face that you're not interested in what I'm saying, then
Yeah.
I either need to reframe what I'm saying or I just need to move on or just like pivot topics or something like that because ultimately I have a goal for what I wanted for why I started talking in the first place. My goal in mind, I want to get to that goal. But if how I'm getting to that goal isn't resonating with you, and it doesn't matter. I'm never going to achieve that goal if I'm not able to pivot or change how or what I'm saying. So that's kind of the gist of speaking clearly.
Oh, speak. It's not enough. We have to speak clearly. And I like the framework you gave, that we have to like find a way to get some feedback to know that we are actually communicating, right? We're actually
Mhm.
sending. And I think to make things easy, every time we try to speak, right, we should ask ourselves, what is the reason I'm speaking? Like, what purpose I'm speaking? Like, why am I speaking? Am I trying to do like persuade someone? Am I trying to make them get angry?
Mhm.
And break my or am I trying to inspire them or enter them? Because and then what happens is that it's influences how you package what you say. Because if I'm talking to a bunch of kids, and probably in I don't know what they call, okay, yeah, over here we call it primary school, but
Oh,
very young kids like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And if I'm talking to those sets of kids, and I'm trying to inspire them to, do things more, the way I would talk to them will be way different. The examples I'll give way different, but it's the same message, it's concept, right?
right.
I didn't change anything. I didn't dilute any messages. I'm still my authentic self. When I would see some persons I know, right, in children church, they would teach these little kids, and I'll see the way they will speak, the way they will express, the way they will dramatize things, and I was like, wow. I'm like, yeah. But then when they are talking to me, the way they speak, the different, they like really like mature and adults, and now I'm like, yeah. So that's what it means to really understand the audience, because they know that if they speak that mature adult way, they lose the attention of the kids. The kids won't remember it. They won't really connect. And so the same, we need to have, who am I speaking to, and why am I
Mhm.
even?
Right. Yeah, a really good example that I have for this was doing some work for a brand, and there was a different type of product that I thought we should sell along with another product. And I had to go through three levels of people to convince them to get the okay to sell this other type of service. And so on the one hand, I said, "Hey, we could make more money if we sell this service and package it with this service. Um, what do and here's how I do it." And I give tactics and I give, I'll handle this, I'll do this. These are the steps we need to take to make sure that this is scalable and everything like that. And so that's one person. The next person after that, they don't care about the how we're going to do it. They just want to know, why are we wasting our time on
Yeah.
this? Because if I give them the how, they're going to say that's a lot of work. Like, we shouldn't be wasting our time on this. And so to them, I'm presenting the exact same idea, but I'm presenting it in, by the way, we've had clients that have wanted this service that we don't provide. And so they didn't buy this service because they wanted them both together. And so I said, we've missed out, the company has probably missed out on over $2 million in revenue this year, just by people saying, well, we want this, and since you don't do it, we're going to go with someone else. And so that was a different conversation. But ultimately, the same conversation just had the same idea had to be presented 2 to 3 different ways, because each audience is different and has something different on your mind. One is an operations, like, how are we going to do this? The other one is a more from efficiency standpoint and branding
Yeah.
standpoint. Why do we want to do this? And so it's 2 different mindsets.
Yeah. And understanding that really makes things easy, because now you know the expectations, and
Right.
you're talking, you're speaking, and like the question on your mind will be, am I meeting those right? And then like, oh yeah, they have this expectation. I think I've answered it. And the last part is don't market a product you don't believe in, something like that. Could you say
Yeah.
the exact what you said?
Yeah. It was, and never market products you don't believe in.
Mm,
And the, the meaning behind that is, a lot of people can do a lot of different things just purely for the money, but it only gets you so far. Like, you can get paid $1 million to do one thing, but if you aren't happy with it, you aren't happy with it. Unfortunately, the more money you make, the harder you have to work a lot of times. And so it's not like making a bunch of money at the end of the day is going to give you all of a sudden all this free time. You might have free time when you're in your 70s, but that by that point, your life is over half gone. And
yeah.
so you got you've got to do what you love. Like, I, at a very early in my career, learned this lesson the hard way. I worked for a company that I did not believe in their product.
Mm,
I honestly thought their product was a scam, and it wasn't a scam. But I just remember it not at that point. It was very early in the company. At that point, it wasn't working that well, and we were selling it, and we had so much training on handling these objections to keeping clients on, and client retention was a big issue. And and I just remember sitting there going, man, we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing, but it's just not working. It's not making their lives easier. It's not, and for me, I just, like, became completely disconnected. And it ended up being not a great situation towards the end of a lot of people, not just mine, but a lot of people's tenure at that company, because there was a lot of people that are just like, doesn't seem like a good product. But then I've worked for companies that I 100% believe in the product, and I will work hundreds of hours, not just because I have a bunch of work to do, but because I'm just excited about what I'm doing for them. There's a company that I do some work for now, Nuvo. They're based out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and they created an AI tech, privacy compliant AI tech that's able to um, find users online without using cookies. And the performance of this technology is amazing. And it's one of the few companies that I've worked for that, like, I truly believe in a product, and I'm just,
yeah.
like, excited to log on and excited to go to, do that work every single day. And I know I'm happier for it. And I think any company that hires workers that are excited to be there and work with the product, they're going to be better off for it.
Yeah. You said the thing about the quote is that they all connect to each other, right? Because now if you're marketing a product that you don't believe in, what happens is that you don't even have the courage, and if you don't even have the courage to build when you're speaking about this thing, you're not even clear about it because you yourself don't even understand. And when I mean understand, and it's not just to speak jargons that, oh, this product is stuff that does this stuff. Like really understand vision, the pain, the
Right.
idea behind it, a knowing. It's not just, oh, I know what these words mean. They gave me this bulletin from the company meeting. I should read it out. No, like to really understand it, it's in brain. You really get what the product is to do. And for me, it's the same thing. People are trying to do things that they don't even believe in, not just products or company wise, but they're trying to do something that they don't believe in. And so they cannot build boldly. They cannot even talk about it clearly. They're afraid, they're ashamed to talk about it. And everything just
I
affects it.
I just like got goosebumps when you were saying that because like I love that you made that connection because that's the point of the quote. Like the last part of the quote is everything. Is
Yeah.
don't market what you don't believe in because if you don't believe in what you're marketing, you can't build boldly and you can't speak clearly on it because
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I
I
feel
love
like
that.
why do I feel like the last supposed to
Yeah.
ah,
I feel like it's
ah,
deeper. It's deeper if you get to the last part and you're like, "Oh
yeah.
wait, it all
Oh
connects."
yeah. So it
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. Why didn't they teach me at the beginning? It was like you were not prepared. Now you
Right.
can handle it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for sharing
Absolutely.
your favorite quote with me and just helping me make sense of it. I'm very glad that I had this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Earlier on, when you at the beginning, you did mention what you did, but please, I would urge you to speak layman terms, right? Speak in the language that we understand. What do you do, right? And you told us, right? And because I'm in the industry, I understand
Mhm.
the stuff you do. But for most of my listeners that are not in the in quote unquote industry, right? They might not even know what you're talking about. So can you
Yeah.
speak in terms and yeah, just
So all in all, I do marketing, especially in like the digital realm. So advertising online, video advertising, when you're watching your favorite television show, that type of advertising, as well as organic search advertising. So not just paying for ads to show up in various search engines, but helping people get their websites to show up organically. Because most people want the organic results, so it's important that you're showing up. So I'm helping optimize various websites or content to make sure that it's showing up higher to get more clicks and everything like that. That's my expertise. But the advertising realm, working with artificial intelligence and the different products there, that's it's a big part of what I do. But in a single word, marketing.
yeah. You
Yeah,
help people people find the product that was made for them, or the product
correct.
find the people that the product was made for. Yeah, basically that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Where can my listeners learn more about you?
Yeah, so you can find me. The best places to find me are on Instagram at at Michael is not available Instagram, and then on YouTube you can find me as well. Just the page is Madman Marketing is the page as well.
Wait. Did you just say? Did you just say your handle is at Michael is?
Yeah, it's kind of counterproductive. I am available if you want
Wait.
to.
Wait. I thought you were actually telling me that the handle at Michael is not. That was what I was like. Okay, so what is the handle you later?
Oh. Yeah, yeah. I can see how that's confused. No, no, no. It's
Yeah.
actually at Michael is not available.
Okay. I
Yeah,
got that
it's
part right. Okay, so we
it
can
creates
find
a
you on
lot of
Instagram,
confusion.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and what about?
My website is madmanmarketing.io.
Okay, yeah, the
Yeah.
internet artificial intelligence key domain IO,
Yes.
manmenmarketing.io. Well, I know that the story of man marketing. That's another story for another day.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.